Welcome back to the Innovative Agency, everybody. It's fun to be back with you here today, and I am looking forward to today's discussion for a couple of reasons. It's We've had a lot of conversation lately on the show about how much dynamism's in the industry right now. As we're recording this, towards the beginning of June in 2025, we're kind of at the tail end of the spring conference season. So I've been at a lot of agency events and heard the conversation back and forth, a lot of turbulence in the industry, a lot of uncertainty. And sometimes it feels to me like the only way out of that is knowing how to communicate with the rest of the world and on behalf of your brands, on behalf of the agencies that you all lead. And so I'm thrilled to have a communications and PR practitioner and expert and veteran here on the show today who's going to kind of share her experiences. So Jennifer Kaplan, thank you so much for joining us. Jennifer is the founder of Evolve PR and Marketing. And Jennifer, you've been at the game for a bit, and I know that we were just chatting a little bit before we started recording this segment about how much change we've seen in the industry over the last couple of years.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show, Sharon. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you today. And, I always say communication is key. And now we have so many more ways to communicate a message and with each other. And so I think that it's really important as we're all in that marketing agency space that we're aware of all of the different ways that we could be doing that and the changes, like you said, that we're seeing even on the horizon with regards to communication affecting our businesses, good and bad, positives and negatives, and making sure that we lean into those the right way.
I think for folks who are leading what I'll call full service, or I'll use your own terminology, agency leaders and owners, you're either running a full service or an integrated shop. And so you might do PR and communications as one of your service lines in addition to a lot of other things. But as someone who runs a primarily PR and communications focused firm, Jennifer, what has surprised you the most about the changes we've seen over the last 12 to 24 months in terms of your agency's discipline?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I've seen are all of the different um, areas and outreach that we have to platforms and mediums. It used to be more of the TV, radio, print, online. And I know it's been, let's say podcasts, they've been around for a long time, quite a few years, but really now emphasizing the importance that clients have and that we have on, podcast opportunities, because that's just another place and way that not only can they engage with what they're doing, but then share it. It's an asset that then they can put out, through different platforms or on their website. So podcast is another thing that we've really seen change and enhance in our outreach, as well as influencers. So the first thing that comes to mind is just that it's more than just what we would think of in the past with the traditional media. Influencers are just as important in communicating our message, our client's message, and then again, an asset that they can utilize to push out through different platforms. There's also a lot more flexibility to share. When a client's on a TV segment, they might have 3 minutes, and it's very kind of controlled, I guess, if you will. Where in a podcast, we're having a conversation. It's a little more free flow, and so they can share more. Same with an influencer or some other opportunities that we can identify. More people are creating their own shows on YouTube, and in different ways, even on cable. So it's giving the client more places to be seen and heard, and in different ways to be able to communicate.
Mhm.
what they're trying to convey about their goods or service.
So, how has that affected the kind of advice that you give to your clients who are coming to you for counsel on what's the best communication strategy for us? How has it sort of impacted the advice that your team would give to a client about what channel or avenue to approach or what strategy to employ? What are some things you're thinking about now that maybe you didn't consider as much, 24 months ago? And how has it sort of changed the way you're coaching your clients to think about it?
That's a great question because we do have to educate them as well because we're taking them out of their operation, out of their business. Maybe they're getting billable hours on their end, or they're managing people and wanting to focus on aspects of their business where we're saying this is a value, and really making sure that it is a value, but there is that delicate balance of educating them on these other platforms and getting their mindset to change a little bit from just this paper or just this TV, show or segment, and really making them aware of these other ways that we can get their name out there. If they're doing anything community outreach and cross promotional and other things in their community or with their business, these additional platforms are also other ways to share that, where sometimes what they think might be worthy of the TV segment or the main newspaper isn't as much. So some of these other platforms will allow them to get their story heard. So we tell them that while we may not be able to get the evening news show, there's maybe some other shows and other ways that we can get their message out. And so rather than not being able to produce a result based on what their angle is, we kind of pivoted a little bit to these other platforms and still get that message out in other ways. So I think it just broadens the opportunities for them.
Are many of them coming to you kind of with a pre-baked idea about wanting to use one of the new platforms? Do you have many clients coming to you asking about, either podcasting or doing a review campaign for user-generated content or whatever it might be to get the word out about them? Are you finding that the clients are coming to you now asking about some of these newer media or different opportunities than you might traditionally think of in PR?
For sure, a lot.
Uh-huh.
Everybody wants to be interviewed and on a podcast, which I mean, obviously we're sitting here today and I'm enjoying my time with you. I'm a big proponent of it. I do
Yeah.
think that podcasts, again, are a great way to expand the dialogue and the conversation, and then share it across, their socials and their website and with their clients. And I just feel like I love when they are on board with the new stuff and what's out there. Influencers is another one that they come to us with all the
Mhm.
time. We got to put guardrails, on that at times because we don't
Yeah.
want the client to be taken advantage of. And I even had a call this morning with an influencer that went into a business that we didn't know was going in and actually did a negative post and share. And
Mhm.
so, we talk about communication. We need to be aware of the perception and the reputation and all of that. So that's a huge part of communication, is what's being communicated and how it's being communicated. The internet's forever. And I know there's Instagram stories, which will disappear, but typically we don't find those negative posts on a story that disappears. It usually is there. So
Mhm.
just knowing how impactful that communication is and what we say and how we say it, meaning our clients,
Yeah.
is so crucial. And our coaching and guidance is really important, to make sure that nothing is staying out there forever that could tarnish, their business or affect them.
That's a great segue, actually, into something that I have always loved to ask PR and communications experts, and I think it's taken on a bit of a different, maybe more intense meaning now. But and the question is this: do you have a point of view on whether personal branding versus promotion of the company's brand works better? And if so, when does it? Because we're hearing, with AI invading everything, marketing now, we're hearing that to stand apart, authenticity is super huge and personal branding is more meaningful than ever. And so I would love to get your point of view on that as somebody who counsels companies on their PR and communication strategies. What's the right blend, and do you feel strongly one way or the other about it?
I do. And
Okay.
actually, I'm talking about that today on a TV segment, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
well, good. This
Is
is your warm up then.
Yeah, is that personal brand. And I think that um, when you wake up in the morning and you step foot out the door, or not outside the door, and you're on your computer or you're on a call, you are representing your own brand as well as whatever entity or business you either own yourself or you represent. And the personal brand, I feel, is truly where it leads first, because the byproduct is that you represent yourself, your business or another business, but it's your personal brand that you are using in those situations. And
Mhm.
so I think that that's carried through in our communication, how we say it, what we say, even how we present our image. And, social media, as we see individuals graduating high school and college right now, I mean, their personal brand or their digital footprint is going to carry through with them. So if they're saying and doing things that a future employer or university or sorority or fraternity or whatever they're going to do is going to see, it may impact or affect the decisions that those interviews or those people are going to make about them. So the personal brand, I think, is absolutely number one. And more people, I feel, could be aware of that. But they get comfortable because it's, maybe on their social media or on their YouTube, and they don't realize the domino effect that that can have. Um, but it very much can. And actually, going back to that influencer reference that I made that went into a client, it turns out that this influencer just does negative. And
Mm.
so now they've kind of polarized themselves, and people don't want to invite them in to places. Now, they can sneak in, not sneak in, they can go in like you or I can
Yeah.
and still do a negative. But that brand that this person has created has turned off businesses and people that invite influencers in. And I feel like right now there might be some allure to, oh, what is she going to say that's negative?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, that brand that she's creating has that negative connotation. And I do feel like, I mean, that one's just top of mind, but there's a lot of situations where in an instant you can really tarnish, your image and brand. And it's hard to, I do believe there is such a thing as bad PR. So I do believe that
Yeah.
your personal brand is so important, and it can have a huge impact.
So if you're working with a company owner or company senior leader and you're advising them as an agency owner on their communications and their publicity strategies, how do you decide whether to double down more on their personal thought leadership in their chosen area of expertise versus the company's brand and promoting it in PR and communications? I mean, every client has limited resources. And what are some of the things you consider to determine whether it's going to be more effective to build out the leader's profile versus the company's brand profile, or vice versa?
See, and that's where I feel that leader is also the company's brand. We've seen this over the years with different topics, really starting with COVID, when and other things that have followed over the years, that a business might take a stance, or an individual at that business might take a stance,
Mhm.
and it then affects the brand. I've seen CEOs of big companies over the years that have negatively impacted the business because of the stance that they took. So there's a repercussion for that. And I feel like there's a time and place for that. And maybe behind closed doors with your friends or family, you can share in that setting a little bit more about your view, or, um, you know, the way you want to posture or position something. But if you're representing, even I mentioned college kids from that age, whether it's a fraternity, a sorority, an internship, anything, you are representing them in your personal brand. And we've seen it. I know there was a story of a girl on a plane years ago, and she got laid off of her job. She was on a plane ranting and doing so. I don't remember all the specific
Oh,
details.
I do. I know exactly the case you're talking about.
It was a young girl. It was a
Yeah, and
young
she made a very homophobic, or not homophobic, it was a very racist tweet before she got on a transcontinental flight. She was an agency employee actually, and she was definitely fired by the time she landed.
Yep,
But
yep.
yeah.
So taking that situation, and thank you for reminding me what it was. That was her, right? At that moment when she was doing whatever she was doing and saying on her socials or whatever, that was her and her personal brand. But that organization, that business, that company did not want to align with somebody who feels that way. Now, if she goes home and tells a significant other or a mom or a cousin or a neighbor behind closed doors a view, or they're having an intimate conversation, that's what I'm saying. That might be okay if it stays there. That's what makes the world go round, if people have their views. But if
Right,
you're going to take to publicly put out a view, you better be prepared.
right. But I think there we're verging into almost crisis territory, right? That's where crisis communications is so important. I guess what I'm wondering more is, if your client comes to you and says, I have $10,000 to spend, and you need to help them decide, or an agency owner needs to help them decide whether to allocate that to personal thought leadership development of the CEO versus a brand awareness, PR, and publicity campaign. What are some of the things that you think about as a publicity specialist, right? That agency owners ought to be considering when they're advising their clients. Like, how do you decide the right blend? What are the questions you ask, or what are the things you consider?
Yeah, I think it depends on the industry and the business and who they're targeting, like who are the demographics and persona.
Mhm.
It might make sense for the CEO or the leadership C-suite to be the ones on behalf of the organization talking, because it might connect more with the audience that that business or entity attracts. If a campaign with really creative marketing and something that has some cool call to actions, and the thought leadership isn't as important,
Mhm.
than just more something creative and fun and engaging to their audience, the then that may make more sense. So I think it's on a case by case, depending on who the audience is. Sometimes we want to use the chef, and sometimes a restaurant will say, we're not a chef driven concept.
Got it.
We just want to showcase our the experience here and the food, and they don't care who's making it.
Mhm.
Where some concepts really want to lead with the chef, because that is way more um, impactful to connecting and increasing credibility and value of who they are to their audience if they use the chef. So I think there's a time and a place, or based on the industry, to use thought leadership versus, um, a campaign, or taking that money and putting it into both.
Right. That makes sense. So, what do you wish that your counterparts who are running integrated firms. They're not just doing PR and communications, but they may be doing that as a piece of a whole suite of services they're offering. What do you wish that somebody running an integrated campaign where the publicity and the communications are just a part of it, um, knew or asked or did so that PR and communications was properly weighted in any marketing initiative or plan?
Hmm, that's a really good question. Um, I feel that each spoke in the wheel of a campaign is important. I
Mhm.
do believe that some will resonate more and quicker than others. So I feel like having the PR and having the communications piece could maybe complement something that's bigger in that integrated plan. Because I do feel at the end of the day, a little bit of all of that can really help drive um, the impact of the business. So maybe the PR firm is positioning more of the thought leadership of the executives in some articles and interviews, but this bigger campaign they're doing is more impactful to their audience. But maybe if that kind of is what you're saying, I feel like it should all be integrated, and there's ways to tell the story because as PR folks and communicators, we're telling the story. And sometimes in those other aspects of a marketing campaign, the story is not told as much. And
Mhm.
I feel like people connect with the story as well. Oh, I didn't know that the founder is this or the CEO is that, or, it can kind of be an opportunity to convey more the layers behind the organization or what their missions and values are. Where in other areas of a campaign, they may not. It might just be a quicker, something creative, something a little more splash, whether that's a billboard or commercial, and it doesn't get to really develop some more of the personality of the organization.
That's so true. The story behind the story is not something probably that brands are coached to focus on as much. And, they have their metrics they're trying to hit and their KPIs and all of that. And probably the story of how they got there or how, I mean, you might hear it in an awards competition or you might hear it in an article after the Super Bowl, the story behind the story of the commercial. But
Exactly.
yeah, we're probably not as aware of capturing the story behind the story as we could be when it comes to an integrated campaign or program, right, of work in marketing. So that's a great
And we
takeaway.
say on the earned side, which is what we're doing versus the paid side, is to really make it educational, informational, impactful. I mean, connect all the storytelling. Where
Mhm.
when you're doing the paid, I mean, you've got 30 second, a 60 second, and whatever the spot time is, or the billboard, especially now with digital boards, those boards are moving really quick.
Mhm.
So, this is just another complement and layer to maybe what they drove by and saw or saw on TV. And now they read this article about this person who does this with charity or this with family or does this for their internal team, and it's like, wow, I want to support that organization.
Yeah, a lot of brands we love are because of the story behind the story. And so taking the time to document that and lean into it, and that's great strategy. I love that.
Tom's Shoes did that when they launched. Every time you buy a shoe, we're going to send a shoe to
Right.
a country in need, and it was like, oh, maybe I don't love the shoe, but now I want to, go over there. Maybe I just saw an ad of a Tom shoe. I'd be like, meh. But then when I hear they're doing that and I understand why they're doing that, and oh, look at this, story of who they're helping give shoes to, I'm like,
Mhm.
I'll buy one of every color. I mean, that's
Yeah,
so great.
yeah.
So sometimes we get that chance to tell a little bit more.
So I love to throw a crystal ball question into my conversations on the show every once in a while. And so if Jennifer's looking in her crystal ball, what do you think are going to be the most significant changes in the way Evolve does its work over the next year to two?
Hmm. Well, I got to use the word innovation. I know that's
Well,
just
you don't have to, but we always appreciate
I
it.
know, yeah. I mean, truly, I mean, to innovate. So, there's going to be continual things for us specifically. I see AI and how that, in our world, specifically because as storytellers, we're writers and we
Mhm.
want to be creative. And there's a tool out there that, can take that and run with it tenfold. So we want to make sure that we're staying innovative in the way that we do things and don't lose sight of our value. And the ways that we can do that with relationships with media and just looking at other areas that we can make sure to convey to clients. Um, Managing the relationship, guiding them, coaching them, strategizing. I know we kind of just briefly touched on the crisis. That's not something that AI or anything else can help you through,
Right.
than having that hands-on. And I really just think not letting the technology scare us and back us down from what we need to do in order to do our job, but embracing it and allowing it to help us elevate and feel, the greatness of what we're doing with our clients. Because there will be challenges and there's always challenges.
Yeah.
But, kind of meeting it head on.
That's great advice, I think, for any leader of any agency. And so I think it's an awesome opportunity to leave it there. Jennifer, I want to thank you so much for letting us into your world a little bit. We don't get a chance to have, PR and communications focused practitioners on the show very often. As a matter of fact, I can't think of the last time we had one, and it's a very, very specific discipline within the agency world. And so thanks for giving us a glimpse into your day-to-day and also your point of view on what we can expect going forward. Because I think a lot of agency owners are gonna learn a lot from the conversation. So appreciate you being with us today. And if folks want to reach out to either connect with you or learn more about Evolve, what are some of the best places they can do that?
Well, I definitely say the website. There's lots of ways to connect with us on there. Evolve PR and marketing.com. I was going to say and is spelled out. Evolve PR and
Yeah,
marketing.com. So that's always the best way to hit our socials and directly message us.
amazing. Jennifer Kaplan, thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks everybody else for being with us. And until we meet again, everybody stay well. Thank you.
Thank you.